right in terms of what does it mean. I'm excited we're going to see some reflection in a few campus improvement plans coming forward, because I've been a big proponent of that for a while now, and I'm looking forward to that. I guess one other idea I wanted to just throw out there, I don't know if you've done it, I think there's been something done along this line, but I don't know. This is relating to, do we have some base data or some control data at all with our community's relationship to the questions that we can learn, that we can use to chart our growth? So sort of as Mrs. Tossan and Ms. Holliger, I think we're particularly saying, okay, so where are we in all of this? What does this look like? I kind of started to write down, well, what are the, some questions maybe, you know, the community may relate to, some questions the students may relate to, and be able to give us a little bit of feedback or sort of some base data just on their interpretation. And then as we ask the questions of our organization and the leaders implement change, perhaps we can understand what type of change and growth we've seen. This is also builds on something Mr. Rosenthal has talked a lot about in the past, and that is surveying our stakeholders and understanding sort of where they fit in. So I'm just throwing that out there. The different questions might be appropriate for different groups, and I'm not saying we take all, you know, I know there's lots and lots of questions, so I'm not saying we would use all the questions, but there might be a few that we could pull out and get some base data on. Do you want to respond to that?
Well, I did want to say that most of the other districts move to some sort of survey as they transition to community-based accountability in order to have just that checkpoint that you described.
Okay, well that's good to know, and I would be excited to see something like that, so we can chart our growth, because it will lend credibility as we try to take this story out into the community. The last idea I had, I know that I said that was my last one, but it wasn't. There's one more, and that is I wrote down in terms of the board's learning, in terms of the community's learning, I think we might want to consider some kind of webinar or other type of electronic learning that I'm not saying it's a half-day event. I'm saying maybe it's an hour, or it's 30 minutes, or there's an introduction, and people can build on it, and we can maybe kind of mark sort of or keep track of what people do with that. And I mean, not that I'm going to speak for the board, but I think the board would be willing to try something like that, because having that type of learning and maybe understanding how that learning would be interacting with our community stakeholders is beneficial for us, because we can encourage community members to participate. So those are my ideas. They weren't questions, they were thoughts, and keep up the good work. Great job.
Thank you, Mrs. James. I'd like to echo what Mrs. Tossan said, and I know we can all agree that we do appreciate all your hard work, along with the team that was involved in this, and the community members and the staff and the students. I'm also excited, and I echo what what all of my fellow trustees up here have said. We know every legislative session, the box that we operate in continues to get smaller and smaller, and I'm really proud that we're taking the wheel and doing what's necessary to grow our students, which I think is just a huge part of this. And as a parent, I like that I will have the opportunity to best support my child with some real data, because I know as a parent that my children are not taking the STAR test yet, but next year my son will be, and I know it will not be a fair indicator for him. But one pillar that I'm really proud of, that it was really excited to see, was the safety and well-being. And if we're going to educate the whole student, then that is a huge part of them being comfortable and feeling safe and having a great sense of well-being. So I just wanted to comment that I'm really proud of that. And thank you for that. We are now going to move on to our annual 2014-2018 bond update. Dr. Dupree.
Yes, sir. This is actually our quarterly report on the bond. We're now have 2 active bond programs as we ramp up the 2018 and wind down the 2014. But we wanted to do a brief update tonight along with share a little bit about the new online dashboard we've set up for this bond program. So I'll turn it over to Oscar Perez, our Chief Operations Officer.
Thank you, Dr. Dupree, members of the board. It gives me great pleasure to be here a little over 4 years after we went to the voters and we asked them to entrust their money and allow us to go ahead and attempt to deliver Bond 2014. And I can tell you that, that's always hard, not only for the voters themselves, but it's hard for staff that set these programs up, because setting up bonds is not an exact science, and there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are out of our control. And so you start off, you do your best in going ahead and determining how much money you need, and you do your best in determining the length of time that you need to go ahead and deliver. And what I want to bring you tonight is to let you know that as far as Bond 2014, we have delivered. And I'm, other than the CTE, which we will go ahead and complete here for the beginning of the year, we're at 98% complete in the total bond program. And I think that is really a great accomplishment that has been able to, all of the staff that works for myself and then all of my colleagues that are in this room, it takes, it takes a village, as they say, to go in and make these successful. And, everyone has had input in what's happened and in the success of this program. The other part of this is that one of the things that you want to look at is you want to go ahead and hopefully end up in the black. But if you end up in the red, you want to do that by very little. What I want to report is that we have done very well. We started off with no program contingency. We were very frugal as we went on with projects, and we held people accountable, didn't let them over-design or over-commit. And at the time that we reported to the BOC, we had a program contingency that we built up of a little over 18 million, and I want to let you know that as of today, we're at 19.8 because we've closed some additional projects. So that's right around 4% on one of these projects, and I think that is very, very successful. Once again, like I say, my leadership are the ones that that have made that possible, because you have to go ahead and just toe the line, and sometimes it's not. It's not the popular thing to do. Sometimes people feel that, well, I should be getting a little more, but when you're starting off a program and you're trying to, project it out, 4 to 5 years, you have to go ahead and make sure that when you end up, you end up healthy. And the good thing about this is that with the board's foresight, we will be able to come back to you with viable projects and ask for your approval for the use of these funds, and we can continue to utilize and to go ahead and enhance our students' learning environments. The other thing that I want to report on is that as far as our small business initiative, we have been successful. Our goal was 25%, and we are at 29% overall for the bond program. As I said earlier, the final project that is still hanging out there a little bit is the CTC, and we will be delivering that shortly. I know we had an event there in front of it today, and it just really gives me great pleasure, and I have to go ahead and also commend the CTE department, because they have been instrumental in working with them. I know Meredith is at every single meeting that we have, and then she is at many other meetings where she's out there, rattling the bushes, trying to bring in some additional dollars. And so I want to definitely, commend her for that.
Well, actually, we are the last one to pull in the tail end of the bond 2014. So we have a few things left to do with the infrastructure upgrade. mainly on the support sites that we have to upgrade all of the network equipment as well as the Wi-Fi. So we are estimating and on schedule to finish all of our infrastructure upgrade by the end of this calendar year. And we are on budget to finish as we expected.
At this point, that concludes my 2014 report. I can take some questions now, or we can take them after the 2018 report, whichever way you'd like.
Mrs. Tossan.
Thank you, Mr. Burdine. The main thing I wanted to do is commend you, Oscar, and your team, because you stepped in the middle of Bond 2014. You didn't start out in your position when we started Bond 2014, and so I really just wanted to thank you for taking it on. It's not always an easy thing to do. And you didn't just take it on, but you did an excellent job, you and your team. So I just wanted to say that, and I consider this a success. I think you've got, what, $11.8 million in program balance. And would you say 19.8 in contingency?
Yeah,
Program contingency?
The actual program contingency, the projected at that point was 11, but we are at 19
You're
at
at
this
19.
point.
So that's incredible. I mean, really, really, really job well done. Thank you guys for managing it well. Thank you for, you know, doing everything you can to make sure that this bond program was run well, and working with the Bond Oversight Committee. And I just wanted to say job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Tossan. Go ahead, sir.
So with that said, you know, Bond 2014 set the framework for Bond 2018. And there was a lot of lessons learned. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Bond 2014 was perfect. It was not. But what we did was we went ahead and we wanted to look at how could we improve as we go forward. So the first thing that I can tell you is that one of the improvements had to do with the board allowing us to come forth and get all of our architects, all of our engineers, and all of our budgets approved a month after we passed the bond. And by doing so, we've been able to go ahead and get 42 architects and engineer under contract to date. We've been able to get 14 job order contractors under contract, and we will be bringing the first CSP next month to the board for approval, which will be for Neal, for the Neal addition. In addition, one of the things that was also added was that not only are we looking at SBE for the construction side of the house, but we're also looking at it for the architect and engineering services. And as of right now, I can report that so far we're 27% on the construction side and 26% on the architect and engineer side. And so, you know, at this early stage, I think that's, you know, really a very good job. Malala Yousafzai, we will be delivering that. It's on schedule, first of all, and we will be delivering that substantial completion in December of this year, and we will deliver it for students in January. And so that's, we're very proud, and we're awaiting that school. The students will be starting at 2 campuses at the beginning of the year, and then they will transition over to the school in January. Our new construction renovations, we have many projects. Land acquisition, we're going to speak to you all shortly in closed session about that. We'll be giving you an update. The Meadows is on, the demolition of the Meadows is on tonight's agenda for consideration, and upon approval, we'll start the demolition of that classroom. We're in the design phase of our net zero middle school, and we also will be updating you on the land acquisition for that project. If you recall, that one is just the design. It's not, the construction dollars are not in Bond 2018, but we will have the design ready to go, and we will have land for it. As I said, the Neal Classroom Edition will be bringing that in July. And then we continue to do our design on Madden and then on all of the fine arts program. The construction work that's in progress is that's ongoing is, doors and locks, playgrounds. We're doing that this summer. The repairs at Hall Stadium, that's been ongoing, and we will be completing before the beginning of the football season. The bond signage, you've probably seen those, the 14 coming down and the 18 going up. Fencing around portables, we're doing some of that work already this summer, and we'll continue to do that. And water softeners are going in place also.
Moving on to the communication plan for the bond project, we did include an update in the April FBISD News Magazine. We went over that's a sample right there of the layout that we used. And we also have in the Back to School magazine space laid out to include a longer article about the bond progress. We know how important it is to reach all of our stakeholders, and so the magazine does go to all homes within Fort Bend ISD, regardless if they have students or not. So that's an important way for us to reach them. We also have incorporated more video. We had a video public service announcement regarding the installation of the door locks throughout the district. That those posts got a lot of mileage on social media. So we went ahead and designed a plan to include more social media posts that include video of our progress. So we'll be sending those out throughout the year and sharing those with our bond oversight committee as well.
Okay, I'd like to give you a brief summary of the technology progress of bond 2018. We started the environmental control for the IT closet last year. We basically finished all of the 17 campuses in phase 1. We're planning for phase 2 and currently reviewing all of the design and construction, and hopefully bringing to the board for approval sometime in November for the phase 2 budget. The majority of the project in the initial phases are in their initial phases in terms of planning, bidding, and so on and so forth. The most exciting news is that we work along with teaching and learning, have determined the phase 1 and phase 2 classroom distribution. In a phase 1, as is listed there, we have about 47 campuses, and then phase 2 completed for the year 2020 and 2021 school year, 32 campuses. For the phase 1 deployment timeframe, we are on schedule to completely deploy phase 1 campuses by the start of school year. And then the library, currently we have the lab and the library checkout devices are all fully deployed to all campuses. So all campuses will have their labs and library devices by the time school starts.
So one of the things that we also heard loud and clear was that even though I still feel that of all the districts in the region, we have the most robust reporting and the most transparent of all reporting that I've ever seen. But we wanted to go a step further. We heard the word dashboard, and I can't take credit for that, but I can tell you that my staff was able to go ahead and put a dashboard together. And so what I'm going to ask is for Sandra Becerra to come up, and she can kind of show you where to go to find that, and just give you a few little tidbits of what is there. And we hope that y'all will go out there. It can't be broken. They told me I could even mess with it, so I'm really happy with that. But it's good to just go out there, see what it is, and then give us feedback. If there's something that we need to work on, let us know. But we just have a whole lot of information that's right there, not only for the board, but it's forward-facing for the public to be able to go and find out truly anything they want to find out about their campus having to do with Bond 2018. Sandra.
Good evening. I will start by quickly
Can we-
demonstrating.
I'm
how-
sorry, ma'am. Make sure that microphone's on. Is it on? No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will start by quickly demonstrating how to access the dashboard from the Fort Bend ISD website. So on the right bottom corner right here, if you can see the mouse, there is this icon. So if you click on it, it will take you to this screen. And then right here to the left, you'll see the 2018 bond dashboard link. So if we click there, it'll take us to the dashboard that we have designed for the 2018 bond program. If we click on this icon right here, if you see the mouse, you'll have a full screen. So the information that we report via this dashboard comes directly from Prolog, which is the program management system that we use to execute the 2018 bond program. The program is used by the general contractors, architects, and the management team, and it's real-time information. We update the dashboard on a monthly basis, and the information that you see posted right now was uploaded as of June 10 of 2019. As we can see here, we have committed $144 million today, and we have spent today $39 million. I'm gonna navigate through the main parts of the dashboard. The dashboard has 6 tabs, which you can see here at the bottom. The first tab is financials, and the other 5 tabs are schedule information. On the top left corner, we have the overall package status, which changes every month as the packages go from one phase to the following. Right below that table, you'll see a table with a list of all the bid packages and the status per bid package. Both of those columns can be sorted for easy search or finding information that you may want to know further. On the top right corner, you'll see this pie chart that shows bond dollar distribution per type of facility, whether it's elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools. And then you will see this table right here, which offers a list of all the locations and the schools, and columns to the right indicating the budgets allocated per school, as well as the commitments and the dollars spent today with the percentage spent. So for example, I'm gonna demonstrate, if you are interested in knowing more about the financials of, for example, Austin High School, which you can see here that has a budget of $19 million, and we have committed $976,000. If you click on the left, on this plus sign, on the left of the name of the school, it'll show all the packages that are included in that specific school. And it gives you a snapshot of the financials for each package. But we can also drill down even further and then click on that plus sign, and it gives us the financials broken down into these 5 categories: architect and engineering, and professional services, construction, furniture and equipment, other project costs, and project contingency. Some of the other features that you have here on this tab is you can click on the pie chart, or you can click on the actual packages if you want specific information for a package, or if you want to know what we're doing in the elementary schools only, and so forth. I will move on to the next tab. This tab is scheduling information. The reason why we have 5 tabs here is because we broke down all our facilities. So tab number 2 shows all the elementary schools from A through L. The following tab 3, elementary schools M through Z. Tab 4, the middle schools. Tab 5 is the high schools. And then the last tab is the packages 47 and 51. Likewise, if you're interested in knowing what's happening in one of the schools, you can click, I'm gonna select Blue Ridge as an example. You can come here and click on the arrow to the left of the school, and it lists all the packages that are included in the work that we are doing in that specific school. But it's further, you're interested in knowing when the package 10, for example, fine arts, will be done. You click on that arrow, and then it shows us 4 bars. This is consistent in all the packages, and those are the design activity, the procurement activity, the construction, and the closeout. Likewise, you can click on any other package you may be interested. Say, like, for example, playground. On the right, if you place your mouse over the bars, you'll have information about the start date and the end date, specific information. And this dotted line is today's day. Same as the financial tab, there's some features here. You have a search button, a reset view, and you can also click on the packages if you want to have information just for one specific package. This dashboard is very, very interactive. So we encourage everyone of you and the community to visit the website and to play around with the dashboard. There's nothing bad can happen, but it's very interactive, and you can only have fun with it if you try yourself and click on every field that you find here. And if you have any questions, we will be happy to address any questions when you come up with any questions or concerns. Oscar?
Well, thank you very much, and that concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate the presentation. I wanted to reiterate that this is available to everybody. Everybody can go on the Fort Bend ISD website and follow the links that we were just shown, and the community, it's just not available to board members. I wanted to reiterate that. Mr. Rosenthal, do you have a question or comment?
Yes. So I did notice in the presentation and on the agenda tonight, over the last couple of years, we've kind of gone away from CMARs. And it seems like pretty much most of the major projects coming up in this bond or looks like we're going to use CMARs for those. Is there a reason that we've kind of gone back to that, or?
So we're not using it for most. We are using it for some projects that we felt we needed to go ahead and use the method because it would allow us to release some early packages. And so those are the ones that we're using, and they actually, we have those on the agenda, coming forth. But we, as I said, Neil will be coming. That's a CSP. We have quite a few CSPs. Any time that we feel that we have the time to go ahead and get the project done, we would look at a CSP. But in the case of High School 12, Meadows and Lakeview, we felt that CMAR would be the better method to utilize to be able to get us to deliver those projects.
Okay, is that because you feel like the contractors have more of an incentive to get that work done more efficiently?
Actually, sir, I feel that it gives us a little more flexibility, as I said, to go ahead and start some of the work before the design is 100% complete. In the CSP, we have to complete the design, then we put it out to bid. In the CMAR, we can actually go ahead and release some early packages and get things moving.
Okay. And then the item on fencing. So are we actually at the design stage, or are we actually at a construction phase at any of our campuses for that?
Yes, sir. We're in both design and construction. We'll be installing fences around some of the portables this summer. So that we'll be going forward with that, and we'll get some of those completed this summer.
Okay. So I don't know, maybe, does anybody, I don't remember seeing any of those on our agenda.
Yes, sir. That came as a job order contractor, and we brought it in for approval. And then what we're doing is we're working with the chief, and we're working with the campus to go ahead and determine, where the fencing will go. But it came to the board as a job order contract.
Okay, I just don't remember. And we're still just doing chain link?
Well, some is chain link, but it's gonna depend. In some of the homeowner associations, we may be doing something different. I mean, we're kind of look at each of them individually.
Okay, well, I don't remember seeing that, but we see a lot of things. I do hope that we consider other things other than just chain link that anybody can see through right from the street. So, the other thing is, I think that the dashboard, that is really awesome. And I think we should also communicate that with a really short little video to go out, to people that can go out there and into the community, and just so they can see how easy and transparent that really is. That's a great tool. So thank you for doing that. I think that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Mr. Rice?
I wanted to add on to Mrs. Tossan's comments and Mr. Rosenthal's comments. And thank you, Mr. Perez, for your leadership in taking this on. And also Carolina Fazzetti and Ashley Dixon. And to you, Mr. Pham, we are further along with our IT than we've ever been, ever, in this district, thanks to your leadership. So thank you for that. And now, Mr. Perez, you've undertaken completing this next bond in 3 years, in 3 short years. All you have to do is spend $1 million a day to do it. So thank you very much, and I know you'll do a great job. And the dashboard, it does look great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Helliger?
Yeah, I just want to comment that I'm overly excited, over the moon, over this dashboard. And this is top notch. And I agree with you, Mr. Rosenthal, that a good video on how to use it would probably be good for people so they can understand what they're looking at. I do have a quick question. Maybe I missed this, and apologize if I did. How frequently is the data being updated? Every month? Every month, okay. All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Helliger. Again, thank you, Mr. Perez. Thank you for your leadership, and we appreciate your team as well. Great presentation. It's really exciting, once again, as it was stated up here with the dashboard, so can't thank you enough for that. We will now convene in closed session under the Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, and those sections listed in the agenda, and for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subject matters authorized by law. We are now convened in closed session.